Hi guys and welcome back. So now we shall continue with our next topic for learning drop down, which is auto suggestive drop down. Alright, so an auto suggestive drop down is a user interface element that displays a list of suggestions dynamically as the user types into an input field. Alright, now let's try to understand this. I open a website. In here, if you see, it is asking us to allow all, right? So that is something we need to do first. Okay, after that I want to click on this search icon, and from here, let's suppose I type generative. Okay, and after that you see this values are getting auto populated, right? So we have got generative AI, we have got generative AI healthcare, and we have got generative interfaces. Okay, so I want to click on this, and after clicking on this I want to make sure that the text appears as generative interfaces. Alright, so I hope guys that's clear to you. It's like you pass few inputs and based on that you get the drop down list, and from there you do the selection. Now let's go back to code and let's create a class. So class example for auto suggestion drop down. Alright, and in here I can actually create my interface. I web driver okay, and in here let's create a method public void and test on Chrome. Alright, driver equals to new Chrome driver. Alright, after that I want to maximize my browser, so it is driver dot manage dot window dot maximize. Alright, after this is done I actually have to create an implicit wait, so that is going to wait for 10 seconds for all the element to show up. Alright, so I can do driver dot manage dot timeouts dot implicit wait, okay, equals to time span of, let's suppose I give like 6 seconds. Alright, and then after that it's time to navigate to the URL. So driver dot navigate dot go to URL, and in here you can paste the URL. It is perficient.com. okay, after navigating, okay, you actually have to click on that accept all button. Alright, so let me go back again. Let's close this. Inspect this and get the value. Okay, let's copy this ID. So driver dot find element by dot ID. Okay, and you can pass the ID value. Okay, and then perform click. Alright, okay, now once that is done, I have to look for this search icon. Okay, so we are seeing this class name, right? So I can take this, Control C. Now driver dot find element by dot class name, and I can give the value of class name. Alright, after that this is your iWeb element. Okay, and that is your search icon. Okay, equals to this. Okay, so I basically want to perform what? Click on this. So search icon dot click. Okay, now once that is clicked, now that we have search box, now let's try to send text one by one. Alright, so in our case we wanted to send value, string value, which is string text to type, and that was generative. Alright, here let's try to simulate typing on the search box one by one. Okay, so we can make use of for each loop. Okay, so in here char C in text to type. Okay, and I want to send in search box dot send keys, and here the value C dot to string. Okay, and I wanted to pause for thread dot sleep and just give like 1 second. Okay, after that, once you send this, so you are sending generative. Okay, so our aim was to click on this generative interfaces, right? So now let's try to relocate this. So generative, if you try to uniquely find this, if you look at this, just if you look at this, just expand this. Okay, so in here we are getting generative interface, area label equals to generative interfaces. Alright, and role equals to option. Okay, so after entering, we just want to make sure it pauses for a while until and unless this actually appears. Okay, so we can actually make use of WebDriver wait first. Alright, so in here web driver weight equals to new web driver weight, and in here I can pass driver and the time span. Suppose I give it for 8 seconds. Alright, and in here let's try to uniquely locate this first, and then we can pass that value. Uniquely locate the value. Okay, so let's suppose if we look at back in this, this is the one, right? Okay, so what I can do, option is getting unique option along with that area label, right? So we can make use of XPath, which is like this. Okay, so it is okay, and then in here I have got @role equals to option in single quote. All right, and after that and @ the next field which we have got is area label. So area label equals to, and I can pass the value. So the value that we have is, it is generative interfaces. Okay, I hope guys this is clear to you. So we can combine multiple attributes using XPath. Alright, now it's time to use your until method. Wait dot until selenium extras dot wait helpers dot expected conditions dot element is visible. Okay, and in here I can actually pass by dot XPath. All right, and I can copy this value. Okay, so this is the value which I have. web element. Okay, so it's like once we see this option, okay, I actually want to perform click on this one, right? Okay, so I will just click on this by suggestion dot click. All right, I hope it is clear till here, guys. Okay, and then let's go back to web page. After clicking on this one, we are getting this generative interfaces. Okay, so if we closely look at this one, I actually want to come at the top of this HTML element. So when we hover on this, it is highlighting everything. So once after clicking on generative interfaces, we are going to come to this page. Okay, now it's time to wait for this element to be visible. Okay, so what I can do here, I can again use explicit wait. Okay, so wait dot until, and then in here I can actually use selenium extras dot wait helpers dot expected conditions dot element is visible. Okay, and in here I can actually pass the unique locator value. Okay, so let's suppose what we have in here. So yeah, we can make use of we have got class and its value. We can make use of CSS selector, right? just copy this by dot css selector, control C, dot and then value. Okay, now close this. Fine. After that, I actually want to store that visible text for doing the validation. Alright, so now it's time to do the text validation. Okay, so I want to do the text validation. So for that, I web element, okay, visible text equals to driver dot find element, okay, by dot css selector, okay, and we can pass the value. So our value was this, right? Okay, now close this. Now it's time to take the text out of here, right? So what I can do is string element text equals to visible text dot text. Alright, I hope this is clear till here, guys. Okay, now it's time for doing the validation. Check if generative interfaces is present. Okay, so let's do the comparison using if. So if element text dot contains generative interfaces, alright, in that I am going to output console.writeLine and then I can put the text contains and let's concatenate this plus element text else console.writeLine the text does not contain generative interfaces. Alright, now let's use try and catch block. So I can make use of try and catch block in here. So try, okay, and then at the end just close this. After that, let's catch some exception. Console.writeLine and in here I can pass message error message plus ex. Alright, now close this. Now once that is done, I will actually have this finally block, okay, and in here I can give. Now it's time to create the object. So then let's create an object. So example for auto suggestion obj equals to new example for auto suggestion. Okay, now let's call the object obj dot test on Chrome. Alright, let me run the code and see what is happening now. So the browser got invoked, URL is getting passed. It will click on allow all. Now I will simply typing of generative. Then I will click on generative interfaces. Okay, and then after that I want to have this validation to make sure that generative interface is there. Okay, so if you look at this message, the text contains, okay, this was the text you had, okay, and it is containing what? Generative interfaces. Okay, so I hope guys this is clear to you. Okay, and if you have any doubts, please ask me over the comments.